It was a quiet, easygoing Sunday afternoon, May 7, 2017, in the small town of Bel Air, Ohio. For David Kenny, his wife Sherry, and their young daughter, the plan was simple. Drop by his friend Brad McGarry's house to return a weed trimmer. But when they arrived, something felt off. They knocked at the front door. No answer. A strange unease settled over the family. David led them to the back of the house, where they found the service door slightly ajar. Inside, the place was in chaos, drawers yanked open, furniture askew. Sherry called out for Brad. But her voice was met with an unsettling silence. While Sherry searched upstairs, David headed for the basement. What he saw at the bottom of those stairs would change their lives forever. How David met Sherry and Brad. David Kenny had been an ordinary young man. At 21, his mother threw him a birthday party. That's where he met Sherry, a single mother with a warm smile and 3 young kids. David was instantly smitten. The next day, he told his mother he'd found the one. Some friends questioned his decision to marry someone with 3 children, warning him about the responsibility. But David was certain. He loved Sherry and was ready to step into that role. To support his new family, he began training as a coal miner. Tough, dangerous work, but steady and well-paying. During this training, David met Brad McGarry. Brad had grown up in conservative Cambridge, Ohio, openly gay in a time and place where that wasn't easy. He faced prejudice but never hid who he was. After working as a hairstylist, Brad made a surprising career change to coal mining. David and Brad quickly became close. Brad was welcomed into the Kenny family, earning the affectionate nickname Uncle Brad from the kids. They shared laughs, holidays, and plans for the future, including a Bahamas trip scheduled for August 2017. The day everything changed on May 7th, Brad had attended a family gathering. Around 1:30 or 2 p.m., he told a cousin he needed to head home for a meeting. Hours later, at 6:15 p.m., David, Sherry, and their daughter arrived at Brad's place. His car was outside, but he didn't answer the door. That's when they discovered the back door open. Sherry stayed upstairs calling out his name. David descended into the basement and found Brad lying face down in a pool of blood. Sherry heard her husband's scream, rushed downstairs, and was struck by the grim sight. She grabbed her phone and called 911. The investigation begins when police arrived. David and Sherry were visibly shaken, explaining how they'd found their friend. They mentioned Brad's recent breakup with a man named Scotty, describing the relationship as turbulent and filled with arguments. Initially, officers considered suicide. But that theory collapsed when no weapon was found under Brad's body. The scene looked like a robbery. Drawers open, rooms ransacked, but oddly, nothing valuable was missing. Cash lay scattered on the floor, expensive rural art remained untouched, and the TV was still in place. Detectives quickly concluded the robbery was staged. Given Brad's sexuality and job in a conservative industry, they wondered if this was a hate crime. But co-workers spoke highly of Brad, ending that theory. Investigators pressed friends and family for leads. Brad's friend Wendy confirmed the breakup with Scotty, but didn't think Scotty could have been involved. He was in jail for violating probation. Still, detectives couldn't rule out the possibility of him orchestrating something from behind bars. But Scotty's reaction to the news seemed genuinely shocked, and suspicion moved elsewhere. The first big break, detectives canvassed the neighborhood for security footage. Then, 2 days later, a cousin revealed something explosive. Brad had mentioned that a man named DJ was coming over the day he died, and had joked about taking a nap with him. The cousin added that DJ was married and hiding his sexuality from his wife. Under pressure, the cousin finally revealed DJ's identity. It was David Kenny, the very man who had discovered Brad's body. From witness to suspect, David had been seen as a grieving friend. Now, detectives suspected him as the killer. Under the pretense of retrieving crime scene photos, they got David's phone. Location data placed him at Brad's house at the time of the murder. Deleted text messages, recovered through forensic work, revealed an ongoing sexual relationship. Surveillance footage from a neighbor's camera showed David arriving at Brad's house before the estimated time of death, driving his wife's car. He left about 40 minutes later, then returned hours afterward with Sherry and their daughter, pretending to deliver the weed trimmer. The interrogation confronted with the evidence. David changed his story multiple times, at least 7 or 8 different versions. At one point, he claimed an unknown man had shot Brad. Finally, he admitted the affair but claimed it had only lasted a few months. According to David, Brad became angry when he tried to end things, pulled a gun, and in the struggle, David shot him in self-defense. But forensic evidence told a different story. Brad had been shot twice in the back of the head, execution style. David said he'd thrown the gun away, but it was never found. Arrest and trial on May 9th, David was arrested for first-degree murder. Prosecutors argued Brad had threatened to reveal the affair, giving David a motive to silence him permanently. Bail was set at $1 million. The defense painted David as a devoted husband and father, requesting reductions. But the judge refused, citing David's lies and the fact he had brought his wife and child to the crime scene. At trial, prosecutors presented surveillance video, body cam footage, and text evidence. A used condom found at the scene showed DNA from Brad and an unknown male, but not David, a point the defense tried to use in his favor. Still, the prosecution maintained that 2 bullets to the back of the head were not self-defense. After 4 hours of deliberation, the jury found David Kenny guilty of aggravated murder. Before sentencing, David apologized to Brad's family, saying he never meant for it to happen. The judge, unmoved, called it a calculated execution followed by an elaborate cover-up. He sentenced David to life in prison without parole, plus 3 years for using a firearm. Appeals have been denied, and as of MID 2023, David remains incarcerated in Ohio. If you found this case gripping, check out our new channel diving into some of the most chilling cases from Latin America. Subscribe for more stories that will keep you on the edge of your seat.